Thank you so much for joining us today for the Pastor's Potluck Podcast. Here on the Pastor's Potluck, it's similar to a normal potluck where you might get something that you want and there may be something that you just want to pass up altogether. And that's okay. There's something here for everybody. Our goal here is to encourage you and maybe in the process entertain you. If you're ready, let's dig in. Well, thank you for joining us for another episode of the Pastor's Potluck. We're joined today with Pastor Anna, our youth pastor here at Southridge Church.
What is it?
A whole lot. We are we are in full-fledged Easter, everything moving, working towards Easter.
Even around us right now, because people are either listening to this or seeing this, but they're not really seeing this.
Yeah, because it's out of the shop.
All around us is decor and Easter and gardens, and it is amazing.
Yeah, it's great. I'm really looking forward to this. I mentioned this in staff meeting. This is the first year where I'm not overly stressed with everything that's happening with Easter. Usually, because there's such a sense of expectancy with Easter because it's a huge service.
Yeah.
It's one of our most attended services for the church in general.
Yeah.
And so,
well, it's the reason we are even here. Without
100%.
the Easter message of resurrection, none of this matters.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, it is. It is a big. It's a big holiday, and it's a big deal, and we want to connect people to that message. And sometimes that's through creating an experience that is unforgettable, and that's part of it.
Yeah. One of the things that goes just hand in hand with these big moments is obviously we have these times to where the workload is a little bit more.
Yeah.
And so we're excited about Easter. We're excited about the 3 services that we're having that day. But at the end of this, it's also looking maybe for a little break, a little vacation,
a little respite.
A little respite
for ourselves and our families.
Little retreat.
Yeah.
So, that's what we're talking about today.
Yeah.
Is we're looking forward to the times to where we have these. I hate saying breaks in ministry.
No, because it's in my world because I don't come from ministry. I come from the corporate world. I had a government job and I worked in sales and I worked in all. It's time off. It's time off of the work, but there's never a break in ministry. Your
100%.
calling is always there.
Yeah.
And that's what's neat. Any Christian, and this is something that I believed even before I was in ministry as a career option, if that's even a thing. It was my calling is with me whether I am the sales associate. My calling is with me whether I am the school teacher. My calling is with me no matter what. But sometimes I do need to take a break from the work.
100%.
And I am thankful that God gave me that as a young person, because I've had so many friends, not just in ministry, and all kinds of jobs, especially service jobs, where they experience a lot of burnout, a lot of pain for them, their families, even in the workplace, bringing negativity or bringing exhaustion into those spaces when really that's not the best we can offer. And I think that our culture as a whole really undervalues rest and what it can do for the big picture of what we deem as success.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the times too, for even people that are in ministry, there can be a sense of guilt whenever people do take time to rest.
Yeah,
we obviously we're super strategic with everything that we do, but also so the times that we do take rest is in these moments and during these times to where there's not a whole lot going on.
Yeah.
But you could still feel guilty because you're like, man, I'm I'm wanting to make things happen, and
Yeah.
but understanding that it is super super important to take those times to relax and recharge as a family, uh, and also just for yourself personally as
Yeah.
well, because the better version of yourself is going to produce better versions or better results
Yep.
in ministry as
It's
well.
true.
And so if you're constantly going all the time, then maybe the team that you're a part of or that you're overseeing uh, tends to not be as effective
Yeah.
whenever the leader is not not rested and
Yeah.
not healthy in that sense.
Yeah. I've actually experienced two different types of that, what you just said, that kind of like guilt of walking away or whatever, like taking a break.
Mm-hmm.
And the first type of it was when I was teaching, and I had to take a sick day. And I mean, I was sick. Like, I was really sick. Like, I didn't want to
Yeah.
put my students at risk. I didn't want to put my coworkers at risk. And so I took a sick day, and I can remember feeling so guilty because I was like, did I leave enough preparation for the sub?
Yeah.
Did, like, am I missing out on something? Like, have I done the hard work in the background? And honestly, like, it was one of the first times, those first few times, that guilt was actually kind of real because I probably didn't do everything I needed to do
Yeah.
to make it a nice transition for whoever came in that day or for my students or whatever. But then on the other side of that, a few years later, I had created a substitute box, like an emergency box is what we called it, and it was in the case that I would not leave a lesson plan or whatever, there were still backup things to do.
Yeah.
And so whenever I would miss on those times, like years later, I had like a guilt, but the guilt was, man, I won't get to see my kids. Like, I won't
Yeah.
get to do, and that is a much lighter burden. Like, to know that you put in the hard work. I did all the right things. I've done everything I can do, and I'm just needing a care day. I
Yeah.
just need to take care of myself. But knowing that you did the hard work in advance,
Yeah.
it is a way easier burden than wondering, did I do the right things? And I also have to take care of myself now. Like,
Yeah.
it is crazy the difference. And I think that we experience that too. Like, and no matter what our career is, like, but here, like at the church, one of the things we talk about all the time is like, are you replacing yourself? Are you finding people that if you have an emergency situation, like, they're ready to pick it up where
Yeah.
you left off? And that definitely helps with taking a break, to know that you've put in the hard work to do that.
Yeah. 100%. It's yeah. Just not only it's just saying that you are that you're thinking of those things
Yeah.
like beforehand and setting yourself up for success, because if you go on vacation, say you take a week off, and then your first day people are like blasting you. I mean, are you really going
Yeah.
to take a vacation? You
Right.
know, like blowing up your phone through, your communication channels. And
Yep.
I mean, you're going to sit there the whole time and think, oh, gosh, like I should have did this. I
Yeah.
should have taken care of that. And I should have done that.
Yep.
What is for you and Paul? What is like vacations look like? Just in general. Um, it's we have two different family dynamics.
Oh, for sure.
And so I wanted to kind of talk like maybe the difference between those two, and what does it look like for whenever you and Paul say, okay, we're gonna do this, like we're
Yeah.
on the same page.
Well, a lot of times, so where we're at right now, just as a couple, a lot of our choices come down to financial choices. Like, we're
Yeah.
pretty strict with our budget. We try to keep things tight. Like, I just got a text from Paulton this morning, and he said, "Hey, can we talk budget on Friday?" And I was like, "For sure. Like, let's do it." Because we've just had a crazy month,
Yeah.
and we've been kind of off. Like, I actually had a vacation planned, and things went awry. We had a family emergency, and I had to ditch the vacation that was fully paid for, so it was fit right in the budget.
Yeah.
um, it was a paid vacation that was amazing. I was going with a friend, and then we had a family emergency, and I had to come back home. But that also meant I had to buy a plane ticket that we didn't plan on. I had to buy a hotel that we didn't plan on. Like,
Yeah.
and so that kind of skewed our budget. So a lot of our
Mhm.
plans, we look there first. We say, okay, what can we afford? And sometimes something we really, really desire fits into that,
Mhm.
but usually it doesn't. but we're able to, say, hey, what we desire, is that what this is about, or is this just to refresh? Is this just whatever? Because I kind of have a different mindset. I'll say something's either a trip or it's a vacation,
Yeah.
because in my mind that's not the same thing. Like a trip is like where you go to do something. Like you've gone, like we're going to
Like Disney, so
yes.
if you go to Disney, that's not a vacation.
It's not in
You
my
are
world.
not
It's not.
you are not relaxed. You always spend more money
Yeah.
than what you got, and you are on your feet 16 hours a day.
Yeah. Yeah. Seriously, like when I think of like an amusement park visit, or
Yeah.
even going to the zoo, like things like that, that's a trip. Those are trips in my mind. Those
Yeah.
aren't vacations. Sometimes I'll take teenagers on trips. Like we'll go to San Antonio or Colorado or Florida, and people are like, "Oh, I saw you had a vacation," and I'm like, first of all, I really love
I need to
you.
correct you on a couple of
I
things.
need you to know you are deeply loved by your creator. But I want to push you out in front of a moving scooter. Like, that was not a vacation.
No.
That was a trip.
If you thought that was a
Um,
vacation, then I just want to
like,
present you with the opportunity to volunteer in youth ministry.
yes, I say it is a vacation that I've been talking about with my therapist. If it makes you feel any better, like that's the kind of vacation it was.
Yeah.
So anyway, there's definitely a difference, like if it's a trip or a vacation. And sometimes trips are great because they're fun. Like
Oh yeah.
we love having fun. Let's do it. Like
There's
let's
still
do a trip.
there's still some disconnect
Yes.
between
Yes.
like being in house and
Yeah.
working and making things happen. There's still, but it's
Yeah. It's not the same in my
Merriam-Webster's
world.
dictionary
Yes.
defines.
No. And so vacation for us, it starts with budget. It starts with, hey, what can we afford?
Yeah.
And then it goes into availability. Like, what's our availability? Like right now, Paul started a new job last year, and so his availability was not what we had planned. And
Yeah.
so that kind of changed. We actually had a vacation planned with my sister and her boyfriend, and Paul was not able to attend last minute. And I really debated on whether or not I would go. I was like, should I just not go? Like,
Yeah.
whatever. And Paul, it came right out of a total busy season, summer, fall, and in ministry as a whole, but especially in family ministries. Fall is a very busy season. It's back to
Mhm.
school, it's ball games, it's events, it's conventions, like all of this stuff is happening. And he's like, no, you need to take a break. Like, you need to go on this trip still,
Yeah.
even if I'm not going. And so I went by myself, went to the airport by myself, flew down there by myself, traveled alone. And whenever I do that, there is something really refreshing for me to do that, like to sit in an airport with a book alone. Actually, the airport here in Charleston has a little library.
Oh yeah.
And whenever I go there, I usually will just pick up one of their books and start reading it. And if I like it, like sometimes I'll buy it on my own or whatever. And so I think that's a really nice feature. But to just be alone, just me and God, like talking, listening to music or whatever, like I really value that time.
Yeah.
There's something really special that it's meant to me over the years. But anyway, I went on that trip because I did feel like it was important to spend time with my sibling, and we had a lot of great memories, and a lot of good came out of that trip. But Paul has also done single vacations. One kind of threw my whole family for a loop. It was before our marriage. We were engaged at the time, and Paul, he just started to feel a little overwhelmed by everything, and he said, "Hey, I just need to get out of town for a couple days. I just need to like get refreshed, like do whatever." And I was like, "Okay, like I trust you, like
Yeah.
whatever." And so what I don't know that he realized it or we realized it, but I told him, I said, you're saying this, and this weekend is my bridal shower, that you're supposed to show up at the end and kind of like, wave at everybody or whatever. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Just make a visit.
Yeah, and so he disappears with just his backpack on his back. He goes up, he drives up to the Pittsburgh airport, and just I don't see him or hear from him for like 3 days. It's Saturday morning of the bridal shower.
So he flew up to Pittsburgh.
He drove to Pittsburgh because we lived not far from Pittsburgh at the time.
Okay.
And so he just drove to the airport and took a flight to what I found out was Florida. I just didn't know. I didn't know anything.
You didn't even know he was going to Florida.
He just was like, I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
And honestly, like he would have to confirm this, but now that we're talking about it, my brain is remembering him just going to the airport and being like, "Where's your next flight?"
And he's like,
Like,
you pick one.
Like, do you have a flight that is like $100? And they're like, yeah, it's to Florida. He's like, sign me up. Like, I feel like that's what happened. Like, crazy. Like, anyway,
I'd love to do that.
just craziness. And so, with the backpack on his back, he was gone for a couple days. And
you just show up at a random hotel, and he's just like talking to somebody. He's like, hotel, please. And they're like, which one? He's like, hotel, please.
I have no idea. I wasn't there. And that would not surprise me at all if it went that way.
Yeah.
Well, Saturday morning, my family's like, have you heard from Paul? Like, is he coming? And I was like, I haven't heard from him. And they're like, this is a red flag, Anna. Like, like this is not okay. And I was like, it'll be fine. He'll show up.
Yeah.
Like, he said he'll be here. He'll be here. And they were just like, whatever. Like, we're doing this whole thing for nothing. Like,
Yeah.
that's what their brains are saying.
Yeah.
Like, this is foolish. Well, like, the thing's about to wrap up. About a half hour till the end point. In walks a sunburnt Paul Blake with a bouquet of flowers.
Yeah.
And what I later found out was an outfit that he bought off of a mannequin because he said it looked good. Like, he was like, I just saw this outfit and knew that my clothes that I took weren't as nice as that. And
Yeah.
I said, I'll take that outfit.
In the airport, right?
In the airport, at a mall, like somewhere when he was traveling. Like,
yeah.
he's just like, I like that outfit. Like, I'll buy that.
I'll take one of those.
Just like, who are you? Like, what?
I don't know that I've ever known anybody to buy like whatever the mannequin's wearing, right?
Yes.
Right? Think about that.
Welcome
like
to my
somebody
life.
looks up and goes, "I'll take what that mannequin's wearing, please." Can you imagine if like it was his size and they were like, "No, I want
That would've
that,"
been
and so they're
amazing.
undressing the mannequin
That
in the
would've been
airport?
so cool. The only other time I've ever seen that was in a movie, and it was in the movie Bruce Almighty.
Oh
He
yeah,
looks at the mannequin that's wearing like a cloudy like button up, and he's just like snaps his finger because he's like God now in the movie.
yeah,
And then he's suddenly wearing what the mannequin is.
yeah,
Like, Paul must have been inspired. I don't know, but so like that kind of vacation, like those kind of vacations. In my world, like some people would hate that. That would not be a vacation to them.
yeah,
But I kind of enjoy stuff like that too. Like him and I both enjoy doing like a single retreat kind of mindset. Like
yeah,
I actually have done a couple of those where I've done 24-hour retreats
yeah,
where I'll book like an Airbnb, or I have a friend a few counties over. They let me stay in their like farmhouse. It's just a family farmhouse. No one lives there right now. They let me stay there
yeah,
just as a singular retreat, to pray, to turn off my phone, like to just kind of relax and like unplug. And those have been so refreshing for me and given me energy and ideas.
yeah,
And sometimes just rest. Like, and that's all I get from it. But
Yeah.
sometimes that's all I needed.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know that I've ever done anything like intentional, like by myself. I mean, I've had stretches to where, like Erica and the kids, like were not around. Like this past weekend they did, but I'd still had like things I had to do,
Yeah.
in terms of job and make sure my dogs don't die and cleaning up the house some before they showed up, but not ever being like super intentional. So that like for me that's completely foreign.
Yeah.
Um, like whenever I came up here, before our place was ready that we're living in now, it was about a month. So I was working up here a month, but I was like living and still working. So there wasn't like any mental or like actual relaxation or rest. I'm very intrigued about the idea of what's your cheapest flight, like walking up there and just saying, put me on the cheapest one you got to wherever. And
There is a travel hack that I saw on TikTok about that.
like I think
It's
where I
amazing.
get like I get confused is like, did he go up there and like buy like a round trip ticket,
I don't think so. Just a one way.
just a one
And
way?
then he bought a one way when he was in Florida to come home.
Yeah. Huh.
He's kind of a wild card of a person.
Yeah.
But he's my person. So
I'm a planner too, so
Yeah.
like I'm intrigued about the idea of just showing up in a random city and not
Yeah.
knowing what to do and trying to figure it out, because like I think being presented with those challenges and kind of like overcoming those obstacles is is
It could do something for you.
oh,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's survival mode.
Yeah.
Like I can't just go sleep on a random bench with just my backpack. I mean, I could, but
Yeah.
I mean that's not comfortable.
That's what I was faced with a couple weeks ago. Whenever
Yeah,
plans changed for me, it was very quick, and all I had on my feet were my house slippers.
yeah,
And I was in an abandoned terminal with my house slippers on and my backpack, and I was like, "All right, this is happening."
yeah,
Like, but I saw miracles come out of that, and it worked out, and God was faithful, of course, like He always is.
yeah,
But yeah, travel can be tricky too. Like vacations where you travel, there's all kinds of bumps in the road, no matter how hard you plan.
yeah.
Like things just can happen.
Yeah, we went to Washington last summer and did the whole DC area, which was great because that's like one of those that falls under the category of a trip. You're on your feet a
Yeah.
lot. You're wanting to see all these monuments and museums and go look at stuff and just like really take it in. Um, but where was I going with this? Dude, I'm so
DC.
tired.
DC.
What were we talking about before?
I don't know. I think you just need to go to the airport and see when their next flight is.
Oh, obstacles and stuff that you don't plan for
Yeah,
happen.
yeah. There we go.
So on our way back, I drive a hybrid car, and so the battery in it like completely crapped out. Luckily, you still have the gas part of
Mhm.
it, but and it was just like okay, look, we just got to limp home.
Yeah.
Which I was super grateful for that we just like I took a week off, but we only did DC for like 3 days,
Yeah.
and so like crammed in as much as we could, and then like I still had like a couple more days to like really relax
Yeah.
before I had to address car issues and unplug and just park my butt in my recliner and
Yeah.
take naps in the middle of the day, which I never do.
Yeah.
But take like be intentional about like resting, even though I'm sitting there going, okay, I've got to replace all these components on my car
Yeah.
and all this, whatever, blah blah blah. But yeah, planning for I don't know, just overcoming those obstacles in
Oh,
the
yeah.
middle of a vacation as well. Um, one of the things that I wanted to ask you was like, what's the longest trip you've ever taken
Sometimes
or vacation?
sometimes I've been on like a 3-day youth trip and it feels like I've been there for 3 months.
Oh yeah, for sure. San Antonio.
That's not the longest, but it feels long sometimes.
Yeah.
Or even family vacations for that matter. Like sometimes I'm like, have we been here for a year? Like
Yeah.
what is going on?
Yeah.
The longest trip I want to say, um, so the longest vacation I think I've ever been on is like a week, like a full week vacation, like a Sunday to Saturday kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it was, I think it was 2 years ago when I went to Colorado. I went with my sisters, and I flew out and met them there. And we stayed. My one sister, she had purchased a villa to stay in. And so I just pretty much had to buy my travel and maybe some food or different things once I got there. And it was really cool. It was really great. Like a nice long enough time where you have a couple days to unwind and then a couple days to actually enjoy
Yeah.
before you have to think about going back. Like it was pretty cool. But the longest trip like I've been away from home was probably San Antonio. I think it was 14 days, and we took a group of let me think, 2, 4, 6, 8, 12, about 16, 17 of us. Might have been more than that, but it was somewhere around there.
Yeah.
And we flew and flew back, and it was a long trip. I mean, some of the kids were like, we felt like we were being punished. Like,
Yeah.
they were like, why are we still here?
Yeah.
Like it was a great experience. It was a great trip, but sometimes being gone too long can feel like you've been gone too long.
Yeah.
Like,
For sure.
it gets tiring.
I mean, would you file underneath that category, like missions trips and stuff like that?
Yeah, probably. I did take a 2-week mission trip to Peru once, and that I didn't file it under that, but that was very refreshing.
Yeah.
Like that specific trip really opened my eyes to a lot of things and experiences. And yeah, I wouldn't have until you just said that. But
Yeah.
I think that yeah, that probably would fit under the trips category.
Yeah, I've spent quite a bit. I think the longest trip I've ever been on was about 3 weeks, and it was in Honduras, um, which was fantastic. But like vacation wise, like actually being super intentional about like vacation and
Mhm.
like really resting, 3 days,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I need to get better at that. So like the thing with Erica and I, our whole relationship is always we've always had a kid, except for the time that she was
Right.
pregnant. So
Right.
we've always had children. So anything that we've ever done is always been with kids. And one of the things that I'm wanting to be more intentional with is just making sure that her and I have a time to where we can
Yeah.
get away. Like
Yeah.
I don't know if she listens to this. I, which is good. So I could just tell you this. Like I'm trying to plan a trip for our anniversary in September to go do
Yeah.
something, and it's leave our kids here and we go to a different state.
Yeah.
Um, and I like because I think that I know that that's going to be like really important for
Yeah.
us to be able to do that because, like I said, it's always been we always anywhere we go we take our kids with us,
Yeah.
which is great. I think it's important for Erica and I to do that because she wasn't so fortunate growing up to be able to do those things
Yeah.
and go on trips, and so she wants she wants our kids to experience those things,
Yeah.
like what
Yeah.
it's like to just go and see stuff and go do stuff,
Yep.
and especially in like the part of the country that we live in now because we're within 5 hours. Like there's a lot that you can go and
Oh,
see.
for sure.
Um,
Yeah, a single tank of gas or maybe two can get you a lot of places when you're on the East Coast.
yes, and so you can't do that in Texas.
Right. Right.
If like 5 hours, you're still in Texas. 7 hours in any direction, you're in Texas from
Oh
where
my
we were at.
goodness.
Except not unless you wanted to go to Mexico. Like
Yeah.
Mexico was like 6 hours, but
Yeah. Yeah.
with the current climate of things internationally, it's just you want to kind of stay put
Yeah.
in the country.
Yeah.
But it's difficult. I mean, I mean, nobody wants to just go and see a different part of Texas because it's just what it is. What it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like, it's cool that we are like provided with the opportunity to be able to do so much, and just like you said, it in a tank of gas, you can literally be in any state in any direction,
Yeah.
and it'll be a different state.
Yep.
But yeah. So are there any like hacks that you have found like whenever you're traveling and stuff?
Yeah. So growing up, I thought this was a vacation, but my parents would take us on a camping trip,
Yeah.
and it was to like their regional camp meeting. Like, so it was just like a church trip.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I always thought we were like, we're on vacation. And then I found
Yeah.
out my friends were like going to beaches and stuff. And I was like, wait, what?
What's a
Like,
beach?
what is that?
Yeah.
Like, okay, anyway. But some of the hacks, some packing hacks, like there's things like learning how to like roll your clothes when you pack versus
Yeah.
folding them. If anyone has never done that, like you will almost double the space in your bags.
100%.
Like if you're not rolling your clothes when you're packing, you're not like leaving yourself enough freedom. And another this is a packing hack, and I didn't learn this from going camping because this is not what you want to do when you're going camping. But if you're
Yeah.
going to like a city or a touristy area, underpack because you're most likely going to purchase things when you're there.
Yeah.
Like you're most likely going to purchase, oh, I love that shirt. I love those joggers. Like whatever.
Yeah.
And so like you can underpack and then bring new things home.
Or realizing that you need to buy a pair of shoes because you initially packed the wrong ones.
Or you find yourself in your house slippers and you end up buying a pair of shoes at Marshall's.
Yeah.
Which is what happened to me. So, anywho.
Yeah.
Another when it comes to trips, like if you are doing a missions trip or things like that, like especially if you know you're going to get messy, pack clothes that you don't mind just literally throwing
Leaving.
away.
Yeah.
and leaving them. And so I have done that a handful of times when I've gone on trips like that. I've left clothes, and a lot of times those places will keep those clothes for the next missions group. Like, they can wash them, and they'll say, "Hey, we've got a pantry for
Yeah.
you of clothes that if you jack them up, like, we don't care."
Yeah.
And so I've done that before when it comes to traveling. The hack that I just discovered with flights, I think that we're actually going to use it here soon. And it's when you go to Google on your browser,
Okay.
just type in Google Flights, and then you select a date, like say like a one-way flight, and you select a date, and then it'll show like a little map. And instead of clicking on the link, you click on the map, and the map will show you the prices across the world, not just across the nation, but across the world, where you can fly on those dates.
Yeah.
So, like, if know you can have a week off in August, you can go and put in the search bar August 10th through the 14th, and look on the map and say, man, we can be in Nevada for $80, or we can be in Washington State for $200, or we
Huh.
could be like one of the ones that was like, you can be in Barbados for $200. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, that is not actually in our price range right now, but in 7 months we could save and prepare and do whatever. Like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, like, that's crazy. And that's a really neat hack that we just discovered. What about you guys? Have some travel hacks?
We actually, like, because we have, whenever we do things with the kids, our middle child Luke has food allergies,
Mm-hmm.
and so obviously we have to have a budget for food. Whenever you're, vacationing and traveling and stuff like that, and so one of the things for us is like we just have to be like really aware of where we're going to eat.
Yeah,
And so we found that planning out where we're going to eat actually saves us money.
I like that.
Um, we don't want to do any chain restaurants because, I mean, whenever
Yeah,
you're
you
at
can
the
get that
house, you can get
anywhere.
that anywhere,
Yeah,
anytime.
I agree.
But so we want to find places that you don't have the opportunity to eat at, but then also, like, because we're forced to have to find places that, that has food that Luke can eat,
Yeah,
has helped us like know that like what money we're going to be spending.
yeah,
Um, and I know that sometimes, people just say, I just want to go and I just want to have like, one meal. I want to have a really nice steak. And then
yeah,
maybe for this meal, I want to have, seafood or whatever.
yeah,
But like planning out like where and what you are eating will
yeah.
actually, that way you're not blindsided by like any kind of
That's
crazy
so
cost,
smart.
because you've got to eat, you've got to have, just survive. You got to
Yeah,
live.
yeah,
And so for us, we always like, we've looked for places that have like a little kitchenette,
mm-hmm.
that help us save money, to where we know that we're going to have to, if we're out and about and we know that we have planned out these meals, then we know what we're getting into
Yeah.
spending wise. So,
That just reminded me of a travel hack that I stole from your wife.
what's that?
Um, the snack bag.
100.
Like,
Whoa. Yeah.
she
You
so
got to.
specifically for airports, like,
Yeah.
she packed a snack bag for everybody, and whenever I found myself deserted, I went to just like the Trader Joe's that was down the street. I walked there and got some groceries and things like that, so that I wouldn't spend a ton of money on
Yeah.
restaurants or whatever. And I had some leftovers, and I was like, what am I going to do with these? Like, they weren't refrigerated food. They weren't like, they were just pantry type items.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll just put them in my backpack and see. And then I went, oh, I remember Erica had these snack bags, and so I
Yeah.
should be fine. And so I took my snacks to the airport. They went through security fine.
Yeah.
And I was able to not have to pay crazy airport food prices for anything. And I
Yeah.
had my snacks. It was great. The other part of that, this is all like coming to me right now, other little hacks, is you have to throw your water away, like when you're going through airport security.
Yeah.
If you can either drink it all or dump it all out, you can take the bottle through, the empty
Yes.
bottle,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can refill it at the refill stations once you're in the airport.
Yeah.
So you don't have to pay for airport prices, because a simple Walmart bottle of water at an airport is like $6, and you're just like, yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's
It's
crazy.
ridiculous.
And so taking an empty water bottle to the airport is a travel hack.
Yeah. One of the things, yeah, because I mean, our kids, anytime we go anywhere, like, or we're traveling somewhere, we got to stop at the gas station. They're always, oh, yeah, I'm hungry. I want a snack. I want chips. I want a drink, or I want this and I want that. And so,
I feel like I might be your kids.
yeah,
I'm like the gas station, my favorite snack
I
place.
am my kids. What are you talking about? Like I'm always, yeah, just sunflower seeds or something, just
Yeah,
to help keep my mind occupied, like focused on the road. And so,
yeah, right.
like I'm constantly like snacking anyways, but we always pack because it saves us a ton of
Oh my
money
goodness, yes.
because we can get a box of Pop Tarts and split that between the kids
Yep.
or like all five of us and get like those multi bag of like all different flavors chips, which is only like
Yeah.
$12,
Yep.
but it's literally 20 snacks
Yep.
in there. And so because if you anytime you walk by and you need oh, my kids are hungry, I mean, obviously, you're not going to tell your kids like,
Yeah.
like suck it up.
Starve.
Like we just ate like an hour ago. Like we got 4 more hours, But
Yeah.
you could just you don't feel so bad whenever you're just here's some Pop Tarts.
Yeah.
Here's a bag of chips.
Yep.
Here's like a little ding dong or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Um, and it saves a lot of money too as well.
Yeah, it's
But
good. Well, I think that one of the things that, because I feel like I have come out of a culture that doesn't necessarily value rest that much. Like,
yeah.
I feel like growing up, my parents are workhorses, and I respect them for that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they are just workhorses. I was raised to do the same. My older siblings are, they are just like top tier in their careers. Like, they are just
Yeah.
amazing, like, killing it. Like, all of my nieces, nephews, sibling, like, we are just working people. Like, we value work, we value
Yeah.
hard work, we value people getting jobs done well. Like, that's a huge thing for us. And I feel like whenever you do that, when you place a high value on that, sometimes you do feel like resting or vacationing is either like a waste or it's like an escape,
Yeah.
and that's not really what it should be either. Like,
Yeah.
a vacation and rest time isn't really an escape. And the reason that I've kind of come to terms with that is just by looking at Jesus and what he did whenever he was here with people. Um, he would get moments of it looked like he was escaping, like he was
Yeah.
like running away,
Uh
but
huh.
it was really like, hey, I just need more fuel. Like,
Yeah.
I just need more time with the Father. I need more time to kind of like refresh, refuel, because this everything around me, it does need me. Like,
Yeah.
it does. Like, there are parts of my job that only I can do. There's parts of my family, there's roles within that that only I can do. Like, and without getting away to refuel and going to God, like, that gets really difficult because we start drawing from what we don't have.
Yeah.
And it's just not fair to those around us. And our hard work starts to become, the results are not what we think it should be. We're working really, really hard and getting very little out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that comes from the lack of finding respite in the Lord and
Yeah.
finding moments to say, okay, God, like, I just need a break. Like, and we even did a couple years ago, Paul and I even did a staycation where we got, we stayed in South Charleston. We still left our home. We've
Yeah.
done some staycations, like literally at home, full staycations. But we just got a little hotel in South Charleston. We went to places locally that we normally just wouldn't have time to spend.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, like, that weekend meant so much to us.
Yeah.
And even the little moments, like just this past Saturday, we had the day off together and we kind of got into a little bit of an argument. We started the day with an argument,
Yeah.
and then in the afternoon, we went and just went for a walk, and it was so windy we thought we were going to blow away. Like, we were like,
Yeah, it
Toto,
was
like
crazy. Yeah.
like Auntie M, Auntie
Yeah.
M. But just to like go for a walk, and we ended up sitting on a park bench together and talking, but then we ended up just sitting quietly for like a little bit,
Yeah.
and just to be away from home, to be away from things, and to get quiet. There was something really refreshing about that.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what he was doing, but I wasn't even intentionally talking to God in that moment. But I'm looking back on that, and even later that day, I thanked God for that moment.
Yeah.
Like, it felt like a moment that God provided for us.
Yeah.
And I think that we all can experience those things, but sometimes it has to be intentional, and we have to just like almost what we've been talking about on Sundays. Like, you just have to take the next step into that. Like,
Yeah.
hey, what if my next step is a break? Like, what if my next step is to um, take some time to just be alone with God? Like,
Yeah.
what does that look like? And maybe it doesn't look traditional or whatever, but that's okay.
Yeah, and sometimes it doesn't even necessarily have to be a week long.
No, nope.
Um, I think that, I mean, you and I have talked about this. Just stepping away from the current situation, if it's maybe overwhelming. Um, I think taking the time just to take 20 minutes
Yep,
and walk a lap around the church or several laps
yep,
and just put on a worship song, uh, and just making sure that I think that even in the small moments that you take, like 20 minutes, or whether that be 20 days,
yeah,
um, and taking those moments to find that rest, and
yeah,
then because you understand that the absolute best version of myself, like we said earlier, the best version of myself is going to be someone that takes those times and those moments, those little breaks,
yeah,
and recognizes our dependency on God.
yeah. Yeah, and they're definitely they are moments that, um, in my opinion, they feel even more elevated when you know
Yeah,
you've put in the hard work on the front end, and it's like almost like it's almost like a well deserved moment. Like, it's
yeah,
almost like God saying, "Hey, you've done a lot. Like, take a rest. Like,
yeah,
take a rest." Like, we look at many stories in the Bible where God offers rest as a gift. Like,
yeah,
he's like, you just need to rest. You just need to eat. You just need to get away. You just need to what
yeah,
like and we see those moments, and I just think it's interesting that we don't value them in the same way we value, hold up that staff, strike that stone,
yeah,
like lead that army. Like, those moments are the ones we glorify and honor more than these moments that God's like, "Hey, I'm going to give you this time to take a nap under that tree.
yeah,
Like, I'm going to give you this time to meet with me on that mountaintop." Like,
yeah,
there's a disconnect there. And people who are Christians who follow Jesus, we can follow his example in that and say, I know that you might not value this, but I know that God does. And I'm going to take this time to rest.
yeah,
Or I'm going to take this 20-minute break or whatever it looks like. Because there's just a bigger picture out there.
yeah. I have a question for you.
Oh, boy.
Are we going to do mystery meat or Nana's casserole first?
Oh, boy. Okay, so Nana's casserole is so good today because I think that there are some things that are on it that are really fun conversation pieces. So let's save Nana's casserole for the end.
Okay.
We've never done that before.
No, we haven't.
Oh, my gosh.
And yeah, this one's going to be, it's just, it is, the mystery meat is what it is. Um, oh, okay. Yep, this is good. What's the weirdest thing you've given someone as a gift?
Weirdest gift? You're asking this to the youth pastor?
Yes.
I have given so many weird gifts through the years.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. My first thought is the blanket I gave out it's a tortilla blanket. I think your wife has one.
Yeah.
So that was a weird gift, but I don't think it's the weirdest. I think the weirdest gift I've ever given somebody, that's truly a gift, not like a prank, like, or whatever. Like, I got dang it. uh,
You're going to laugh at mine, so don't.
I got these air fresheners made
Okay.
that had my face on them, but it was like a derpy face. Like, I
Yeah.
made a really goofy face, and I gave them out as Christmas prizes at a Christmas party I did one time.
Nice.
And I saw one of my friends with it in their car hanging, and I was like, I regret everything.
Yeah, what
Like,
did I do?
why have I done this?
This is the
It was
worst
so
decision.
dumb. It was so dumb.
So, my love language is one of my love languages is act of service. Okay, so it's just how I show love,
Mhm.
and so there's ways that you give love, and there's ways that you receive love. Erica's way of receiving love is gifts, and which is completely different than acts of service. So,
Yeah, it is.
and so whenever our first year being married, I it was I had to learn, and I'm still learning this, is I had to learn how to give love the way that she receives it, right?
Yeah.
And I just failed miserably the first year for Christmas. It was miserable. I wouldn't say it was a weird gift.
You didn't give her like a coupon book of things you could do for her, right?
No, 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 I didn't
Oh.
do that. No, no, no. Yeah, no. She
I
hates. She
I
hates.
want to do that so bad, but I'm like, I don't want to do any of that.
No, because you know you're not gonna take the time. Let's just be honest. You're not gonna take the time to make one, and so you're gonna go online and try to buy one, and you're
Yeah.
like, I've got to wash Paul's car today. No,
Yeah.
like I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not doing
Not gonna
that.
do that.
Trim the toenails? No,
Yeah,
thanks.
like
oh,
ugh.
I'm so sorry, everybody. I regret that. Moving on.
But so I was like, crap, Christmas is like right around the corner, and also is Target. So I went to Target like 2 days before,
Nice.
and so by that time, all the shelves are just
oh,
ransacked.
picked over. So
There's
bad,
nothing
yeah.
good, and so if I don't know, y'all, I've shared my story in here, but just a refresher course. So in March of 2009, Eric and I started dating. By April, she was expecting our oldest son, Nolan. By September, we were married. And so 2009 is already a whirlwind as it is. And so it's just,
And now it's Christmas.
and now it's Christmas. And, because we had the planned wedding and all this other stuff. And, by December, Nolan was there, December
Yeah.
17th. So literally
Wow.
2 weeks
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
two,
Wow.
2 weeks. No, it's not even a week. It's like 8
No.
days. And then Christmas is here.
Jeez.
And so on top of all this, we got all this brand new stuff we had to buy for baby. So I was like, I can't go my first Christmas without buying my brand new wife and my
Yeah.
brand new child. Like, they can't just not have stuff to open on Christmas. So I went and I started buying stuff. And
Oh,
so
boy.
and so we're still learning a lot of things about each other.
Mm-hmm.
And so Erica opens up this first gift, and it's like a luggage set, right?
Okay.
And so she's like, we're going on a trip.
We're going on a vacation.
Yeah. And she's like, where are we going? I was like, well, you just didn't have any luggage, so I just bought you some.
You're
And
like,
she's like, okay. And so she opens up another. It gets better. So dude, like, she'll never let me. It's
this
she
has got
opens.
me feeling some sort of way.
Gotta think like everything's picked over, and so I'm like, I get her steering wheel cover for her car. No thought. I'm just like, okay, you just got crap to open up. Like, leave me alone. Our kid is like 8 days old.
Yeah, right.
He spent he spent like 5 days in the ICU after that
Oh my
before they like
gosh.
let us go home.
So you guys just got home with him.
Just got home. I was like, I gotta go to the store,
Oh,
and so
yeah, that's rough.
So I bought her a steering wheel cover, and she's thinking, okay, I'm getting a brand new car. I'm just like, no, it's just a steering wheel cover. I've gotten a lot.
I love
I've gotten a
this so
lot
much.
better. I've gotten a lot better at this.
Oh,
I'm-
that's so amazing.
I put thought behind it. Even like this past year, we both looked at each other and we said, hey, for Christmas, let's just go in together and get like something that like really, really, really nice that we wanted to
Yeah.
do, and it'll be a gift from both of us.
yeah.
And so, aside from that, I got her some other things, and she was, babe, you weren't supposed to do this, but she was like, these are really thoughtful
Oh, yeah.
gifts. Like,
Yeah.
I'm glad that you like took the time to do this. Like, I've learned a lot,
Yeah.
and I've learned to, but weirdest gift
that's
where
amazing.
it was just like, okay, let's just throw a bunch of random
Random
crap.
stuff.
Like, it really was.
You just refreshed my memory. So this isn't necessarily a weird gift, but this is my traditional gift prank.
Yeah.
I have a yearly prank that I do, and it is about a month before Christmas. I start stealing things from my husband, regular daily things that he normally uses, and I don't do it
Yeah.
all at once. It's just periodic, and I wrap it all up and give it to him at Christmas. It started our first Christmas together. I did that, and it was because I forgot to get some gifts.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I only got him like 2 gifts. And I felt like, the more gifts, the better. My mindset has changed since then.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, what could I wrap up? And I like see like random stuff around the house. I just started wrapping stuff
Yeah.
up, and I mean, it's been everything. It's been his watch, it's been his glasses, it's been his wallet
Yeah.
before. It's been shoes, outfits, whole outfits.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh my gosh, I love this. Where'd you get this?" I'm like, "Bro,
The
I
closet.
really like you, but come on." Like, so yeah, that's a
These
traditional.
pliers look awfully familiar to some that I
Yeah.
already have. And you're
Yeah.
like,
Like
you already
I
have
will.
them.
I'll just take a tool set out of the garage and wrap it. And he's like, "I already have one of these." I'm like, "Oh, crazy."
We do that with our kids for Christmas. Like we find like random things that they like to eat that we already have on hand.
Yeah.
Like one year, like I just gave the kids avocados and just
I love
like I
that
think
so
this past year
much.
I wrapped up like just ramen packs and they're like ramen.
Okay.
Yeah, they're cool.
Oh, I mean, I like it.
The
It's
crazy
great.
thing is like you spend like you know you want to have like a nice meal or whatever for
Right.
Christmas, and they're like, so this is what we're eating for lunch. I'm like, bruh, have you not smelled the house for like the last couple of
Yeah.
days as we're like cooking
Like,
stuff?
we have
And
a full meal plan.
Yeah.
Ramen is for dinner.
they're like I was just kind of hoping we would eat the ramen,
That's so good.
and so this next year for Christmas, like what you get wrapped, that's what you're eating.
That's it,
I'm
man.
not gonna do any pies and all this other stuff and hams and turkey or whatever that we have planned. Just not doing it.
I love it. I love it. That was a good potluck question. I like that.
It was good.
Our mystery meat question. If you're new to listening and you're still hanging with us, this is a segment.
By the grace of God.
I just have to say it. Like, I'm just like, I know people. Like, I get it. Like,
Yeah.
I am a person. So anyway,
Yeah.
if you're still hanging with us, this is a segment called Nana's Casserole, and it's brought to you by me, Nana. And I'm excited to be with you today to share this. These are
Oh,
the top.
dude, I got okay. It
Go.
just reminded me of this. I got to show you this video, and it just reminded me. I don't know if it's okay. So I was in the car the other day with my kids. I picked them up from school, and we're stopping at a red light, right?
Okay.
And this person's license plate just said like NANANANANA NNNAAA. It was like it's just a bunch of N's and A's. And so I just recorded myself just trying to read this out, and my kids are just dying laughing because I'm just like na 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 na. And so I need to show you that video.
I feel like that should be my drop for this segment. Like, Nana's casserole. Just like, we need a sound drop. We'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah.
So this is the top 10 vacation destinations reported by the U.S. News and World Report.
Yeah.
And so I'd like to, as I go through this, kind of ask each of us, like you and I, and then listeners and viewers, if you wouldn't mind chiming in, are these places we would be interested in?
Yeah.
Or have we been there? Or are we just like not even interested at all? So according to the U.S. News and World Report, the number 10 most desired vacation destination is the Maldives. They're in like South Asia, kind of like islands. Have you heard of this location?
I have heard of this location.
I had not. I had to like look it up and do a little bit of like, but now I want to go there. I had no desire until I saw photos and like.
Dude, it's crazy.
Like, okay, why am I not here right now?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because it costs money. Number 9 is Tokyo, which is in Japan.
I would love to go.
Me too. I want to go to Tokyo so bad.
I would love to go.
We've been like Paul and I have been talking for years about doing a Tokyo trip, and one of our friends just went there a couple years ago, right before COVID, and she was like, "It was awesome," like talking about it. We're like, "Okay, like we just have to make it happen."
Dude, I want to go there because like everything is like it's all. I wouldn't say automated, but it's like automated.
It is.
So like
so cool.
you can like the restaurants you go up to, you put your money in like a vending machine almost, and it prints you out a ticket, and you sit down at your table. You hand them the ticket, and they give you the food.
Yeah.
They even have like a whole area that has like nothing but vending machines.
Yep.
And the food comes out hot out of the vending machine. I'd love to eat a meal.
Doesn't that sound amazing?
It sounds completely
What are we doing here?
foreign, but yes, like enticing.
What are we doing? It sounds
Tokyo. It
incredible
is.
to me. Okay, so number 8 is the Turks and Caicos. I didn't know a lot about this area because when I hear Turks, I think Mediterranean,
Yep.
but this is actually the Dominican Republic.
Yeah.
So, South America?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Sounds like a good time. I liked South America. I went there once. Um, anyway, number 7 is Rome.
Yeah.
Doesn't Rome sound like a great time?
No.
What?
It does if I can go there, and I think it's just too touristy.
It's so
So
touristy.
there's tons of
Yeah,
people from
yeah,
all over the
yeah.
world that go there. And I'd love to see all the art and the sculpture and all of that. I think that would just be fantastic. I'd
Oh
love to see the
man. Yeah.
Colosseum.
Yeah.
But gosh,
Yeah.
just large crowds for me. That's just
Yeah. I think the time
that's
to
a
go,
drain.
if I would have gone, I feel like my dream time has already passed. Like right when COVID things were being like restrictions are being lifted
Mm-hmm.
because people were still really timid to go places.
Yeah.
Like we went on a vacation in August of 2020. It was one of the most relaxing vacations I've ever been on because it felt like we owned the world.
Yeah.
Like we had to wear a mask, but it was like nobody's in line anywhere. No, like
Well, and
it was
then all the
amazing.
workers were just excited to get back to work,
Yes, it was
and so they were
awesome.
super attentive and
Yeah, it's not like that
nice.
anymore.
And, yeah. Oh
It's
no
not
no
like
no.
that.
No,
It's
we're
back to
Cutthroat
yeah,
Island.
it is. Number 6, London, England.
Mm.
Paul went to London when he was 17, maybe
Yeah.
18, and he has a horror story of his experience. He loved that trip, but he got a little bit of a stomach bug, and that's all I'm going to say.
Oh yeah, that is a horror story.
Oh, it gets so worse. It's not potluck appropriate. It is amazing. But I think anyone who listens to this should ask him. That's just moving on. Sorry, Paul. Number 5, Tahiti. Tahiti, like the Polynesian islands.
Yeah.
Because number 4 is also the islands. It's Bora Bora.
Okay.
So Tahiti and Bora Bora come in at 5 and 4.
I feel like those are like the places like that are out in the ocean. They have like these little huts.
Yeah.
You know, like one room in the little hut is like glass, and you can see the fish swimming underneath it.
That
Right.
would be crazy.
Yeah.
I wonder if anybody who listens to this has ever done anything like that. Tell us what it was like, because I don't know that'll ever be me. That feels like phobic. I feel some kind of phobia towards that. I don't know that I have it, but I feel like
Yeah.
it would freak me out.
Just seeing the fish.
Just like having glass floors, like I'm gonna fall through and
Well, it's
drown.
obviously
or-
like the thick glass, like
I-
they do on like the skyscrapers where
oh,
people
I
walk out.
know. I've been up on the things and I didn't walk on it
Yeah.
because it freaked me out. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, number 3 on the chart, final 3 here. Maui in Hawaii.
Yep.
That would be a good time.
Yep.
I'd like that. I've never been to Hawaii.
Neither have I.
It sounds awesome. I should go
I just want somebody. I want to chop open a coconut. Like
right now.
no, just like if I go to Hawaii, like
Oh,
I just one coconut, please, wherever I go. I just want a coconut. I just wanna-
Wherever I go.
I just want to drink out of a coconut.
like, coconut, please.
Yeah, what can I get for you? Coconut? Sir, this is Walmart.
Coconut, please. This is a gas station.
Yeah,
Coconut, please.
you're in the automotive section.
Number 2, and this is somewhere that we had a staff member recently go during their spring break, Paris, France.
Yeah.
She said it was awesome. She brought me back a cookie, and that cookie was awesome. So there you go. Paris.
Hmm.
I don't know. Paris sounds like a good time, but I feel like Paris sounds too fancy for me. Like I don't know that I've made it to that point in my life where I would be like,
I'm not rolling
Ah.
strong in the financial department.
it just sounds so like when I think of Paris, I think of like polished and like
yeah.
high society.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm just like, I went to Quebec and they speak French, and I felt like I didn't fit in there. So I'm like, if Canada isn't a good fit, like,
Yeah.
I don't know if the real thing is where I'm headed.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And then coming at number 1 is somewhere that I would highly desire to go, and it's the South Island in New Zealand. I think that would
Ooh.
be. It's number 1 on the list. U.S. and World Report says South Island, New Zealand.
Well, if you could go anywhere, like sight unseen, all expenses paid. You've never been there before, all expenses paid. Where would you go?
Ooh. Oh boy. like a location or a type of trip? Because I do like the idea of cruising. I've been on cruises and I like that because you go to a new location like every day.
Yeah.
So there's really no way to ever get bored.
Yeah.
I think that's amazing. But if you're going somewhere new, you're only there for like a week, you're not going to get bored anyway because you're discovering things. Sight unseen. Oh gosh, probably somewhere in the Mediterranean. Like I
Yeah.
think anywhere on the Mediterranean coasts, I think that would just be so awesome.
Yeah.
Like the weather is usually great year round. You've got ocean, you've got mountain, you've got lots of options.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to just be plopped somewhere.
Yeah, I would like to do a Japan trip. Like that. There's a lot of stuff I want to see in Japan. But also like a trip that I want to do is I want to go to wherever they film Lord of the Rings, which I think it was New Zealand.
New Zealand, yeah.
And they still have like all the spots and like marked.
Hobbit holes and different
Yeah,
stuff.
you can do
it's
that.
all there, yep.
And so I think that would be cool.
Yeah.
And I think Switzerland just in general is
Yeah.
probably like one of the most beautiful places
Yeah.
on the absolute
That's cool.
the face of the earth.
Yeah.
Just the mountains, and then they're making all kinds of cheese. I like cheese there. I want to go to Switzerland too. So Switzerland, New Zealand,
cool.
and Japan.
Yeah. We had a friend, one of our closest friends lived in New Zealand for a little while, and the pictures that he would send us were just breathtaking.
Yeah.
Like, is this even on Earth?
I even like to go to I just want to go do everything. Gosh, I was so mad whenever I didn't win the lottery. I could have done this.
Could have done it all.
It's all good.
Even if we don't get to do the things on the list, we still can find really cool moments to vacation and rest.
100%.
And I mean, wish lists and dreams are kind of fun to have anyway.
Well, it lets you work towards something.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily like I'm coveting or trying to like I'm getting mad or frustrated because I can't do those things. I can, but it gives me a goal to work towards it, and there's a sense of satisfaction whenever you reach those goals.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely. Yeah, I'm glad to have been here on the potluck today.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm gonna go take a nap.
Yes.
So, hey, really appreciate you guys and gals for tuning in and listening and being a part of this conversation. Yep, we'll see you next week. Have a great weekend. Thank you so much for listening in with us today. We really appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You can also follow us on social media, on Facebook, Instagram. And you can also watch the video version of this on YouTube as well. All you have to do is search up the Pastor's Potluck Podcast. From all of us here, we want to say thank you, and we'll see you next week.